Okay, it's Lou with the very wonderful and fearless and up for anything, Miguel Dean. How are you, Miguel?
Hello, Lou. That was that's a
It's
great.
accurate.
Yeah,
Accurate, I'd say.
I guess it is. I'm feeling a little bit more like that at the moment. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yes, I mean you didn't need any hand holding. Just all right, Lou, let's go, man. I'm like, okay, buddy. Suits me. Suits me. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's so as I was just saying, I was I follow you of course on Facebook, and you had a great trip. It looked like to Portugal. You had some experiences with ayahuasca. All of that seemed like it was time to check in and catch up.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It was. It's always time to catch up with you, Lou.
Cheers, mate.
And yeah, and more time for catching up with brothers. There's something going on with the divine masculine energy, and but yeah, Portugal. Portugal was an adventure. Yeah, it was scheduled a little while ago for me to work with a Portuguese sister who I met at the Goddess conference over there a few years ago,
Right.
Isabel, and we talked about doing some work together. And yeah, we just put a date in the diary and kind of said, let's just forget about all the craziness, and if it's meant to come to pass, it will come to pass. It was actually really smooth. The whole traveling thing to Portugal it's a good. I mean, I guess things are changing again now, but when divinely orchestrated, it just seemed to be, yeah, just made so easy. All the airports were half, empty, and so you move through everything quick. I didn't wear a mask all the way to Portugal. I was asked for a mask a couple of times. I just said, I did my Jedi thing. I said, it's okay, I'm exempt. And they just
Right.
go, oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
And just
You're
like,
exempt.
yeah, yeah. And then you just walk past.
Good. Good.
So the journey was easy. The workshop was beautiful.
Right.
The Coming Home to Love, a Divine Union workshop. Isabel sat, in the seat of the Divine Feminine, and me in the seat of the Sacred Masculine. And yeah, it was just a really beautiful space. We did under my request, we did a foot bathing ceremony for everybody. Isabel did the men while I did the women, and
Wow.
yeah, it was really beautiful and profound.
Yes. Yes.
And while I was there, Lou, I had, it just so happened that my friend said, oh, well, there's a shaman coming from Costa Rica that's going to be serving ayahuasca. There'll be an ayahuasca ceremony at my place the following weekend if you're interested. And yeah, I am at this place in my life where I'm just saying yes to whatever
Great.
comes. Okay, let's
Great.
check that out. If life
Yeah.
brings it, then it's worth.
Yeah. Beautiful.
There's some value there. So yeah, I just kind of jumped in, and glad that I did. It was very
Good.
profound. It lasted 48 hours. We sort of did 2 nights.
Holy Moses.
You sort of rest in we went in about 9 o'clock in the evening into the ceremony. And then the first night, went through till about 10 o'clock the next morning. Then you just kind of like rest and eat a little bit of light stuff and take it easy. And then you go back into ceremony again at 9 o'clock that night.
Wow.
And that went through the night and then into the sweat lodge the next morning.
Wow. Boy, that's intense, man.
It was intense, but it was funny because, yeah, I guess I've been exploring plant medicine a little bit more of late, and getting curious, and the connection with the mother, and the connecting with the spirit and the energy of these medicines that, for the most part have been banned and made illegal, which for me is always like, okay, it's been made illegal. We need to check that out. There's something.
Sure.
There's something curious. There's something worth investigating.
Yes. Yes.
But the ayahuasca, one of the interesting things was I recognized the smell and the taste of it. It was so as if I had had it before.
Okay.
Really very unusual taste and smell, but it was.
Wow.
That was the first thing that struck me, and really the second thing that struck me was that I didn't have a massive impact to the medicine, and I don't tend to. It just was just like a subtle shift in consciousness, yeah, there was some pretty serious physical purging and clearing.
Right.
But the whole thing was just, you know, the ceremony really, and all the intention and the build up and the preparation and the, you know, the sharing of the sacred tobacco. There was one round where you snort, you snort liquid tobacco. There's singing and drumming, and you know, the feathers and the candles and the incense, and it was really beautiful to witness such a sacred ceremony. You know, it was held so beautifully, and
wow.
And sad that we have lost that. You know, that we have so lost that real sweet sacredness to life.
Well, I'd say it's coming back in the popularity of these of ayahuasca, particularly, and other rituals as well. You know, other plant medicine rituals.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, and I think there's a danger. You know, things get fashionable and things get abused, and I guess I'd like to add at this point. Yeah, you know, I'm not saying everybody go out and do ayahuasca.
Sure.
I do know of some sort of horror stories and so on, but I think
Oh, good.
under the right conditions, the right environment, you know, with the right people, it's
Yeah.
so much about trusting the space and the
Yeah.
integrity of the people that are holding
Sure.
the ceremony. I
Sure.
think. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, what a beautiful opportunity, just right to your door, basically. You know.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
brilliant.
That's how it felt. It was too. It was just like I can't not do this. It's
Right. Right.
it's like, okay, and it was scary. You know, it was funny because there were sort of 3 or 4 days before where there wasn't a lot happening at all. You know, I'm in a foreign country. There was a lot of people speaking Portuguese. I had a lot of time with myself and for my mind to play, you know, to play games with what was coming and stepping into the unknown and all this sort of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, that's where we grow, isn't it? That's where we grow
Sure.
when we step out of our
Sure.
comfort zone and into challenge. And
Yeah.
yeah, something just definitely shifted.
Yeah, man. That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
I do feel different. I feel a bit clearer and lighter. There's some interesting physiological things that are happening, which I
Yeah.
guess are connected to it.
Yeah.
I had a wild shopping spree as well, Lou. It's kind of funny. You know, people say, "How did ayahuasca affect you?" Well, the great mother told me to go out and go shopping,
Great.
which is something that I don't do very much of. But yeah, I bought
Right.
statues and clothes. I bought a new wizard, and just, you know, it was something about honoring myself and just
Sure.
being, and in the abundance and flow and beauty of life. It was like, yeah, I want to
Sure.
celebrate. And
Sure. Sure. And to have some tangible things to remind you of that moment, you know, and those experiences to carry that with you, you know,
yeah,
the medicine
yeah,
of that. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting as well that the shaman, I mean, you know, although what his language and what the kind of the vehicle was different, the whole ceremony and the way everything was set up with the sweat lodge and the fire and the positioning and the angles and the directions, it was all totally in alignment with the whole divine union marriage. You know, it was all about the balancing of the masculine and feminine as well. You know, that just really
Right.
interesting seeing
Right.
that emerging throughout the ceremony.
Sure.
And
Sure.
so
Well, that makes perfect sense. You know, it's so up right now, as you're saying.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. There seems to be a push. Something's happening with the, you know, the divine masculine energy. With the, you know, there seems to be a bit of a downloads and men waking up. And I guess I always use myself as a gauge. And yeah,
Sure.
I'm feeling really enjoying being with men a lot more, you know, and creating I have a men's circle here every Monday night, and that
Very
helps.
good. You're in Glastonbury now, Miguel?
Yeah, I'm
Right.
in Glastonbury. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
right on the high street, so it just feels really special that this little men's group is happening right in the middle of the heart chakra of the planet. You know, that it's
Sure, man. It's a very special place. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of healing and consciousness in that town.
yeah.
You know?
It's a very interesting place to live. It's been a real education and
Sure. Sure.
learning so much stuff about boundaries and relationships and gossip and external validation. And it's, when they say life is the workshop, if you come and live in Glastonbury, I think it's a pretty intense workshop,
Sure. Sedona was the same. That was my experience there. Yeah. These places where with such high energy, attract, the real thing, and a lot of people, working through their shadow stuff, as we all are to one degree. But it tends to be a place of extremes, these kinds of healing centers,
Yeah. It's a real adventure living here. It's it's so rich and diverse, and as you said, there's a lot of consciousness and a lot of healing and a lot of light, and with that comes as much darkness as well. There's a lot of real trauma and mixed up people and crazy stuff that
Sure.
goes on here. A lot of drug abuse and at the moment, with what's going on in the world, it just seems like a lot of people are kind of spilling over, projecting emotionally and so on, just getting tipped over the edge.
Right.
It's an interesting time to be alive, isn't it?
Sure, buddy. Nerves are very frayed. Everyone's, really digging deep about their beliefs and their life and their future and their relationships and resources, all of that.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm honest, I'm really not very connected. I'm not connecting in very much with what's happening in the world. It just doesn't feel in alignment, really. It doesn't feel as if it serves me.
Yeah, good.
And, of course, I'm checking in. Am I spiritually bypassing and all this kind of stuff? But I guess I do get waves of overwhelm and kind of like, real sort of sadness and I guess we just can't really wrap our heads around the amount of suffering that has been caused, due to lockdown, essentially, as opposed to the virus, but because of the way it's been handled and so on.
Yeah.
It's hard to really get your head around it, but
well, it doesn't make sense, so that makes it hard.
It doesn't add up, does it? And I guess that's part of it. I mean, I feel a bit like I'm holding a helium balloon, and I'm floating further up, and I'm and the COVID stuff is just like a movie that's just getting smaller and smaller, fading into the distance, kind of thing. It's it just doesn't seem. There doesn't seem to any value in me investing any energy in it at all. I guess that's what I'm seeing.
Sure. No, I really respect that. I think it's a big, my take on it, it just energetically, spiritually, Miguel, is there's a real polarization happening for everyone and in the world, through everyone around our belief systems, and where we put our authority and power and safety, and where we can't or don't or won't, and what feels right and what doesn't. And there's a lot of wiggling going on,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And of course it's waking people up, and it's deepened my faith in that everything is divinely orchestrated, and that this is playing out as it needs to play out, and my role as best as I can is just to stay centered and stay in the love, stay aligned, not get caught up in the fear and the drama and the what's happening on the sort of surface of the ocean, if you like, because that's all it is, just like little waves in the physical realm, where it's what's happening in the deep, and that's where I choose to be as much as I can. And
good man.
Just moving steadily, moving slowly. I'm not even putting any energy in the old traditional sense into my business.
Okay.
I made a decision that, it just kind of arose, really.
Right.
The decision to flow and just to take things easy in Glastonbury, and to let go of the whole, I've got to push and work hard, and I've got to be busy, and I've got to make money, and I've got to, otherwise I'm going to go without. And I let go of all that. And
good, man.
And it's, and it's flowing. It's really interesting how, just the right amount of clients show up, or,
brilliant.
the abundance is flowing sweetly.
Right. I've been tithing. That's been my peace of mind, you see. So similar, take a little off the top and put it towards things that are good. Like I just supported, banning female genital mutilation. There's a group for that today. So I sent them some love and some money.
Awesome.
And I'm like, there it is.
Yeah.
That's my, it's going to come around, whatever, however, but like yourself, just tired of hustling about all of it,
Yeah. It's really, really, it's really totally done with it, and it's flowing sweetly. Since I've got here, there was
great.
a little bit of extra abundance from the government grants that came through, but
Right.
apart from that, I'm leading a very spacious life. I'm seeing my clients plenty of time on the land, and I've kind of adopted if you look out of my window, it's the kind of spot where the buskers play and the drinkers and so on.
Right. You got a show right there, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of like my front garden sort of thing out there. So, and there's a lot of trauma and there's a lot of beauty there, but there's a lot of, the drinkers and the street people and stuff. But I just choose to spend quite a lot of time sitting out there with them, having a smoke or whatever. And
good for you.
It mostly just seems that what's required is just to hold space, just listening. People are desperate to be heard,
This is why I wanted to check in with you, my brother, because that's my story too. Just be gentle and peaceful and centered and give people something to come back to, when they're ready for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll go out for a walk and I'll bump into half a dozen people, that I know a little bit, and they all want to talk, and
Sure.
all drama and stuff going on.
Sure. Yeah, man.
If I can just
they can see you're calm, you're peaceful, you're smiling, they're like, ah.
Yeah. I guess there's must be some of that.
Sure, man.
It just feels like what's needed, and it's so easy to do, really. We're all in this together, and
yes.
I just want to be able to alleviate and suffering where I can. And at the same time, Glastonbury's been very good for teaching me about boundaries. So sometimes I look out and I'm like, no, I just need to lay low and conserve my energy and just take care of me today.
Yeah. Well, it's like 24-hour party town. I think on one level, isn't it?
If you're that way inclined,
Yes.
There's usually something going on, and lockdown seems to be quite a sort of broad suggestion in Glastonbury.
Right. Or like, yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that there are a lot of people struggling at the moment, and
yes,
it's not a time. It doesn't feel like a time for me for grand projects or grand anything. It's just kind of hunkering down and just ticking over and resting, regrouping, connecting, rejuvenating. Beautiful. That's kind of how it feels, really.
Yeah, man. Well, I have to say, my brother, 48 hours of ayahuasca, that'll clean your clock, but good. I have to imagine. I've never had a personal experience with it. I've done other exciting things in my days of doing those exciting things, mostly acid and pot. But you come to why they're so valuable. Is they bring you to the core of yourself, basically, and then you either make friends with that part of yourself, the deepest part of yourself, or you struggle with it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my simple take on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole journey is about coming home to ourselves, isn't it? It's that. I guess that's been really, really current for me at the moment, is just being me and rediscovering all the time who me is, and just noticing little patterns and habits that I still maybe carry from childhood trauma or experiences or whatever, and just that I can just be myself. There's this real sort of righteous anger and around. It's like, 'cause I can see my throne now. You know, I can see the sovereignty. I can feel it. It's becoming something that I am experiencing, and
Wow.
so there's a fierceness around that. And it's like, I want to be me, you know. And we've been so programmed, and it's really exciting discovering who I am.
Sure.
You know,
Sure. Yeah.
finding my fire, you know, and my, no, I won't be treated like shit, or I won't be
Right.
spoken to like that, or I will speak my truth.
Yeah.
Finding that, yeah, that I just feel increasingly full of compassion and kindness and care for my fellow humans, and find it really hard.
Sure.
I just hear all this abrupt language everywhere, you know, them and us, and hate and idiot and stupid and fool, and
Sure.
it's just all feels increasingly alien to me, you know, as
Yeah.
I come back to resting in the peace of myself and being okay with
Yeah.
who I am,
Yeah.
and how that just permeates out in, and then I'm okay with everybody else where they are, you know, the
Sure.
judgment drops
Sure.
away.
Yeah. No, beautiful, brother. I just want to, say, uh, we give to ourselves, and then we have something to offer the rest of the world. Whereas if we martyr ourselves, to prove our worth or to save everyone or fix the world or whatever, it's a losing battle. There's never an end to it. And, we're always feeling neglected or unloved or unseen or whatever the drama is. I relate to all that. And then, because I think that's been the gift of this year for me, is, letting go of striving so much to find excuses to love or accept myself, and just loving and accepting myself, and starting from there and see, like, oh, let's see what this can do.
Yeah, yeah. It's but coming to Glastonbury, I kind of moved away from where my sons were, and so there was an element
Okay.
of, not being so much a father, and then, just shifting my
Right.
gears with my business. I'm not so much, involved in my business. I'm not in a traditional, monogamous relationship. So it's all these kind of reference points where we kind of identify ourselves and kind of,
Sure.
can categorize that. Oh yeah, this is who I am.
Right.
All those just were naturally falling away anyway. So it was like, okay, so can I be at peace with myself, just being me, without no claim in the world, or I haven't done this or I haven't done that, or, can I
Yeah.
just be okay with just being me, just with every thought, word, and action that arises from me, that if I can be at peace with that, then wow, that's sovereignty, that's
Mm-hmm.
freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, yeah, I'm just speaking this and seeing this for the first
Yeah.
time.
No, you're doing great, man. Carry
These
on.
conversations, but seeing how, I guess some of that has come about, this kind of sovereignty and this deeper knowing that freedom is an inside job, has come through the attempted oppression of freedom externally, what's going on in the world. And it seems that a lot of people are suffering as a result of freedoms being, limited and so on.
Sure.
It's kind of bizarre that I haven't been affected. It's happened the opposite for me since this COVID stuff happened. My freedom, my peace, my abundance, my everything has got better rather than worse. And I know some of that is that I've spent time before untangling from the matrix. I mean, I live hand to mouth. I don't have property. I don't have investments. I have no tangles in anything, no pension stuff, nothing complicated at all. So
I relate.
yeah, so, and that's freedom as well. I don't have loads of stuff, so when I move house, I can move in a couple of carloads, and
Right.
just really, really embodying and feeling, and the freedom that comes from unplugging from all the systems and the complexities and tangles of the matrix of the system, and B, just going, I'm okay, I'm good enough just being me, I'm all right,
Sure.
I'm all
Sure.
right.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Miguel, let me ask you about your men's work and how that's going. What's some of the themes you and your clients, you know, are dancing with, because as you say, you know, how we all men tend to define ourselves by our jobs and our relationships and these things. And with so many guys unemployed or underemployed or, you know, on furlough or whatever, you know, that definition isn't there. So do you see a lot more men really exploring their identity because of that?
It's hard to say, you know, what's happening because of what. And I guess I'm, you know, the group, my little men's circles, usually just sort of like 4 or 5 men most weeks. Sometimes it's a little bit less, and sometimes it's a little bit more. But
Great. That's great.
the pattern of men, you know, when I look at the sort of, it's mostly mid 20s to 40s, something, you know, to late 30s. Those seem to be the men. That there are men that, you know, that are on a spiritual path, that are wanting to be the best that they can be, you know, but and are open enough to sharing that and being. It's kind of like the vulnerability thing. It seems to be the bit that the men struggle with most, because I mean, you know, some men come and then they don't come back again. You know, you know, it's like they were a bit too far out of their comfort zone.
Sure.
But actually, I mean, what happens in the circle? Yeah, there's a bit of a smudging and a, you know, a ceremonial opening.
Right.
But it's just essentially with, you know, with a talking stick.
Yeah.
And, you know, the guidance is to speak from the heart. You don't plan what you're going to say. When the stick arrives in your hand, you pause and see what wants to be shared, what wants to be spoken through you, and just share what's alive in you, your challenges, your struggles, your pleasures, your joys, whatever you feel that you'd like to speak into the circle. Because there's no discussion or dialogue, it's just you speak and the next person speaks.
Beautiful.
So it's a really simple process, but it's deceptively simple, because you know, it's such a beautiful balance of the masculine and feminine. In the, you know, the feminine, we're actually learning to drop deep into the feminine, because, you know, if there are 5 people in the circle, you're only speaking for a fifth of the time, and you're actually listening the 4/5 time. So there's that feminine quality, you know, to be open and to be present and to be quiet in your mind and just receive what your brother's sharing.
Sure.
There's real magic that happens in that, you know, in that still space.
Right.
So, yeah, you know, there are a lot of men. I think this, the thing is so deeply embedded still, that men do stuff by themselves. You know, we have to do it on our own, and so on. I get like a lot of men that I meet in the street, and I mention, oh yeah, men, so, oh yeah, that sounds really good. Yeah, I'll come and check that out. But you never see them. There's still a lot of that people pleasing and not speaking your truth, and just, you know, it's like, it's no skin off my nose if you come or not, you know.
Right.
It's kind of rule number 1. Well, not rule number 1, but guidance number 1 of the path of the sacred masculine. You know, speak your truth and be honest. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you're not going to do it, or you're not sure if you're going to do it, then don't say you're going to do it. You know, it's really, there's you know, I think there's a lot of confusion. I know the statistics, mental health, suicides, you know, figures all going up massively, you know, as a result of all this craziness that's going on. But it still feels, for the most part, like, you know, like it's just beginning to gather momentum a little bit, and there's still this stirring and moving and kind of rubbing of eyes and kind of disorientated and discombobulated. And it's like, you know, we know that the old doesn't serve anymore, but maybe there's not enough out there in the mainstream about, you know, what the alternatives are, because it's not out there in the mainstream, I suppose.
Yes, I think that's quite true. You know,
yeah. There's so much deep stigma attached to it, and then, you know, and it's encouraged as well to a certain degree, and you know.
Would you mean men isolating is encouraged?
Well, I was thinking more, you know, there's this whole male mother-son dynamic, you know, where women become the mother in a relationship, and the man becomes the son. So, you know,
Yes.
then that way the woman can be the savior and the mother, and, you know, and do all that, and martyr and all that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
you know, and slot into that role, which
Very unfulfilling, as we both know from too much personal experience.
most unfulfilling. Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, it's complicit. So many of us and so many aspects of society are complicit in the whole setup. It's such a sort of tangle,
Sure.
the breakdown of relationship with ourselves, essentially, which of course is then because we've been, you know, brainwashed, programmed to think that we're another creature, really. You know, it's nuts.
Yes. 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 That's well said, my friends. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there is movement. Definitely noticing a lot more men engaging on my Facebook profile.
Great.
Yeah, new connections.
Lovely.
But for the most part,
That's
it's
encouraging.
still woman that's kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
leading it in my arena. Most of my clients are still females who come,
Sure. Same.
yeah, to have an experience of being with a clean masculine,
Right.
cleanish masculine template, shall we say?
Right. The good guy.
Yeah,
The
somebody.
chat with the good guy, we hope. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody that cares, somebody that has
Yeah.
no agenda, somebody
Yeah.
that can
Safe.
space and listen, and yeah, that kind of stuff that comes second nature to us, but it's stuff that we've learned over many years of practice, I guess.
Sure. Oh, that's true, my friend. That's absolutely true, of course. I mean, and women have been, such important teachers for both of us, about the wounded masculine. I just want to give a shout out about your great book again. The title is escaping me. Can you remind us what it is?
Let me just
You
shift.
happen to have a copy nearby that you can wave at the camera?
Yeah, there's a copy with
Christmas is coming. Bring him
Right.
home. Yes, Miguel Dean. Brilliant, brilliant book. Really enjoyed it. So vulnerable, so honest, so well written. And you really take everyone on a journey in that book, Miguel. And honestly, I mean, it's why I love being friends and staying connected to you and following you, because you're totally 100% committed to your path, and you're giving it everything. And I strive for that as well. I think that's what it takes for all of us, to be able to help people heal their pain and fear is to be impeccable to the best of our ability.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Lou.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The book's been, yeah. I mean, as you know, it's a big part of the tipping point, really. The tipping point for me, and in what you're saying there, that there seems to be a kind of, yeah, the horn sounded in the forest, and it's kind of like, a bit of a call to arms, and a sense of it really is time, because I've been challenged on this a few times by the universe of, do I put my own immediate needs first, or do I put the needs of the collective first? And we're really being asked
It's
to
a trick question.
Well, yeah.
Because of course
It's all the same.
Yeah, man, exactly. There you go. Who's a smart guy? Yes, that's right.
It is all the same, but as in, yeah, maybe I didn't word it as well as I could have. So
I'm just having a laugh with you, my friend.
no, but it's good. Words are so. Let's get impeccable with our words. It's that. Yeah. Oh, let's not get impeccable with our words.
Well, I mean, honestly, let me just take it for a second here. I mean, this is the challenge for all of us, and life, some days it's easy, some days it's really not easy. And as you're saying, I feel the same, that I mean, I've been preparing my whole life for what's happening in the world right now, and I had no idea it was coming, and it would show up like this, and there would be these opportunities and these challenges. And what I've said personally is that this is the first time since the end of World War II that a group of people are literally trying to control the future of the whole planet in a way that is not honest or responsible or good for humanity. And I'm very comfortable saying that. That's my analysis of what's happening. It doesn't make me anything but, you know, myself just wiping my side of the glass, saying this is what I see. But on a deeper level, spiritually, you know, we can debate that. Everyone will debate that, you know, yes, no, whatever. But on the deepest level, spiritually, like we're saying, we need to know who we are. We need to know what we value. I need to know who I am, what I value, what I'm committed to, what I believe in every day. Like, it's not, you know, I'm not sitting on a fence. It's like, you're totally in this, man. You know, you got to walk the talk now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. It feels there is an invitation to live life as a ceremony, you know. I think that's what
Beautiful.
It's time for us to return to that way of being.
Yeah.
But because it is living with consciousness, and, you know, living with clarity, and living in alignment with who we are.
Yeah.
Which is love and truth, and, you know, sentient, caring, collaborative, tribal beings.
Yes.
And it's exciting that, yeah, we're seeing the beginning of the return of that. And, you know, how much we get to see, I don't know. How we, you know, it's a real good practice for being in the unknown, and being comfortable with not knowing,
right,
and just deepening the faith.
Yeah.
And see what unfolds. But
yeah,
the more love and stillness and kindness, and the more we just keep doing our work, you know, that can only contribute in a positive way towards the transition, as far as I'm concerned, whatever the transition into, you know, turns out to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's well said again. And I think we really do have a voice and a vote and a vision of what we want it to be and what we value, you know, what is dear to us. And there's nothing like what you care about being threatened to make you appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, and not take it for granted any longer.
Yeah.
know?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, men are even starting to get a bit angry about their gyms being closed. So, you know, something. So it takes quite a lot to get, you know, as long as the football's still on and still goes.
Right. The pubs, the football, the gym, the girlfriend, everything's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I know.
We'll see what unfolds. But,
Sure.
you know, I think it's always good to remember as well that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and, you know, this
Amen to that.
inhabiting at the moment is a pretty temporary setup, and we're immortal beings, and it's a good time to come to peace and come to terms with death, because if you can deepen that faith and step more fully into that, then, you know, that's the ultimate fear, really. There's nothing to fear anymore. There's nothing that they can do.
Yeah.
It's like, so you can't kill me. I'm immortal, like, you know. I am divine spark of the divine essence, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's just get on with it, and do the best that we can, and learn, you know, a bit more about compassion and coming together, and that's how we come through this together, not on our own.
Sure. I mean, really what I hear you describing is the initiation of becoming a warrior, you know, which, as you say, is to face your own death, and to come out the other side of it and see who you are in that journey. And like you said, also, you know, that every day is an invitation for a deeper connection to the mystery, through ceremony, through ritual, through meditation, prayer, journaling, etc., writing, etc., all of that, music, service work, you know, everything we do. And it's like you know, the joke a few minutes ago, do I serve myself? Do I serve the world? Well, if we can find, as you and I have striven for, you know, a way to do both at the same time, then that is a place of, as you said, great humility and great strength, you know, and we can find peace in that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's that saying, isn't it? You know, how should I treat others? That there are no others.
Right. It's only us, Peter Gabriel. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, my friend, I so value your time and your wonderful consciousness. Do you have perhaps a poem stirring nearby that wants to take us off in a?
I'm sure I could grab something.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. I bet you can. I was looking for something that I wrote recently. Maybe which I'd love to share with you either now or whenever I find it.
Yeah. Let me find that.
Sure, man.
I've got one in mind.
Perfect.
See if I can see it. It's a bit of an old favourite of mine, but it's. I haven't actually been writing since I came to Glastonbury.
Right.
I haven't been. Yeah, I haven't been like writing. I haven't been on my computer. I haven't been. It's just shifted into a completely different space, and I'm just.
Well. I think this is spirit giving you a nudge, because I definitely got the nudge to say hi today, and here we are. So take it for what you will, you know.
Absolutely.
We're all in service to the greater good, the greater mystery.
I can see every other bit of writing here, apart from the one that.
Of course.
That I want to. Here it is. It's
beautiful.
You may have heard it before. Well, you've bound to have heard it, Lou, but maybe some of you, our listeners, won't have heard it.
Happy to hear it again, Miguel.
Okay, so it's called The Wooden Fence.
Great.
I am a wooden fence to keep you safe. A magic fence that does not constrain you and from which you may leave at any time. No harm can come to you while I surround you, and if you choose, I will move with you wherever you go. I am a fence on a high plateau, and through my arms is a stunning view. The grass where you lay is soft, warm, and mossy, and the earth holds you gently in her loving embrace. And I am a fence to keep you safe while you hum gently to yourself and plait your hair and dream in your heart's desires. I am a fence because it is all that I can be. When fear comes roaming, it will not stay long, for fear is no match for a fence such as me. I will move in close and embrace you tenderly and stroke your hair when your holy tears of surrender fall to bless the sacred earth. And I am a fence to witness your rising when sweet release has cleaned you out. I shall behold your dance and hear the sweet song of your heart. I am a fence that shudders in awe at the magnificence of your strength, your courage, your softness, your exquisite beauty. Maiden, mother, lover, crone, I am honoured and blessed to serve you all, for I am a wooden fence to keep you safe.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you, Lou. Yeah, I guess it means what it means to whoever, but it's kind of about the sacred masculine energy, that protective masculine energy that is needed, that I guess that we are blessed that comes through us.
Yeah.
Now, and to hold woman in that energy, and then the magic just kind of all happens by itself. It's really rather beautiful.
Yeah, man, it is. I mean, to hold the world in our hearts is really, the feeling I have there. Yeah, man. And again, thank you. It's always a pleasure. Here, what comes up for me, I haven't found my poem. I'll dig into that and send it to you. I'll leave you with Teal Swan. Do we know Teal?
Yeah.
She says, in this universe, there is no such thing as a mistake. There is also no such thing as punishment. What this means is that everything that happens to you is not an accident, and everything that happens to you has come to benefit you in some way. The key is to deliberately look for that benefit.
Yeah, beautiful. Spot on. Even the things that sometimes seem dark and unfair, and there is a gift in there. Sometimes it takes a while for us to be able to find it, but yeah, it's all being orchestrated for our highest good.
That's the one. There's a line from God in Neil Walsh's books where Neil's complaining about the bad people in his life, and God says to him, "I've sent you nothing but angels."
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's so much more refreshing way to see the world and to move through the world in that way. Everybody is an angel, and everybody, there's a learning, there's a gift, even, there was a guy the other day who I said, out on the street, said, "Hello, how you doing?" And he was like, "F off, I've heard all about you, and you're a fake, and you're this." It was really quite rude.
Oh my God.
Like, okay, and wobbled me for a few moments, and then
I'll bet.
okay, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this external validation curriculum at the moment. In the universe workshop, it seems to be one of the things that just keeps coming up. It's like, Miguel, do you need external validation? Are you internally validated? Are you at peace? Blah blah blah." So it was like, thanks for
Bless you.
yeah.
Bless you. Well, we should definitely talk more often, my friend, because I have the same experience. It's like, again, I feel, the ability to handle someone else's pain and fear, like you just described, it can only come through our own willingness to look at our own pain and fear and make friends with it, be okay with it. And otherwise it all gets projected onto each other, and that's, as you said earlier, that's what we're seeing so much of in the world right now, that it's just, we're kind of all detaching from it and stepping back from it and going, there's nothing for me in this. There's very little for me that I can really relate to, except for picking sides and fighting, and that's pretty boring. Let me give you one more here from Lazarus before we finish up. This week, my teacher Lazarus says, "Beyond the point of no return, you enter the uncharted, searching, seeking, discovering. Be still. Listen. Look with the many eyes, the eyes of your child, the eyes of your heart, the eyes of the old ones. In the between of what those eyes see, innovation rests, waiting to be discovered and ready to leap."
Wow.
Yeah, we got that one over the goalpost, huh?
Yeah,
Good.
beautiful.
Yeah, buddy. The last quote here, my friend, is, "We're drowning in information and starving for wisdom." And you have a lovely lot of wisdom to share with us. So anytime, just wave at me and we'll get on and do one of these. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that sounds good to me, Lou. And yeah, we can even have a private one now and again that we don't.
Of course, we can cry in each other's shoulders and have a good laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, good to connect, Lou. Thank you for reaching out. And yeah, let's do it again before too long. Yeah.
Brilliant. My pleasure, Miguel. Love you. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, and yourself. You as well. Yeah, it all
Okay.
adds up. It all adds up.
That's right. Peace and blessings.
Lots of love.
Okay.
Love.
Cheers.